follow-up on this T6 from the other night. I couldn't get it to hold a vacuum. It kept leaking vacuum. So we're gonna do a little test here. I already kind of started it just to see where it was at as far as, you know, coldness or what. But it went all the way down to, you know, 54 degrees or so. So we're gonna take a little peek inside and see what kind of Freon it's got. It's been almost 3 days since the last time I was here with this truck. So we're gonna start it up and let it run. If we have to, we'll put another probably half a pound or so of Freon in it and kind of see how it goes. If it looks like it's gonna be alright, we'll go ahead and leave it be. And you know that old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So let me go start this thing up. A few days ago as far as cold goes, and it's about, I don't know, 85 degrees right now. I'm going to put another half a pound in it and see what it does. Comes down another degree maybe. far as I see, that's probably 54, maybe 53.5 degrees or so, which is pretty good. So we're gonna leave it alone. For whatever reason, I couldn't get it to hold a vacuum. It'll hold pressure. So I'll follow up with this guy in about 3 days. He's gonna come back to work tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and we'll see what's going on. I put like 2 ounces of freaking dye in there too, so if nothing else, we'll come here at night and kind of look into it and see if there's any leak anywhere. So anyway, that's that. So on this truck here, I've got a install to do, or at least attempt one. He wants to put a generator, that little generator right there, he wants to install it like in this area right here. So I took there was like a little walk right here, and I took it off, and the measurements of his generator are 22 or 21 or something like that. So we got a box that'll hold 24 by 36 by 24, and from inside here to over there on that other end right there is just like 38 inches, so it's perfect for that box. And then 24, you know, on down or whatever, so the measurements are perfect. All I really got to do is make like a mount, you know, for the box to sit on, like a cradle. So I bought some angle iron. I'll show you here. Let me dig it out. I bought some angle iron like this, and then I'll pull it out and show you kind of what I got. So here's what I bought. I bought some flat steel, this little, it's just regular flat steel, nothing serious. And then I bought these little angle irons right here, and what my plan is that these are 4 feet long or just over, and I'm going to cut them so that way they're 24 by 24. And then it'll kind of sit something like so. You can just imagine that that's the back there, and this is 24. It'll kind of sit something like that. I'm going to do a little bit of welding and some cutting, and the box will sit right in there, and it'll support it in the back and in the front. And then this piece right here I'll cut down, and on the back side it'll be kind of like a you know, just some kind of a support. I don't know how far forward I'm going to go with it. We'll see. But it'll be just something like that, and it'll kind of support, you know, the weight of it. So I think it'll come out pretty in. I'm going to do that on both sides. I may have to get one more of these. I don't know. It depends on how far I cut it. But I watched a video on something, how to make something like that, and it seemed like it would turn out pretty good. But anyway, so I'm not sure how that's going to get mounted onto the frame yet. This part will ultimately have to be mounted to the frame of some sort, and then this part right here will actually hold the weight of it. And then you got to do your measurement for 36 inches or what. And it's a steel box. I've got it in the garage, but I've got to put some vents in it and stuff like that. And then I've got to plumb the exhaust on it. Anyway, I pretty much removed all of the. So this box right here will pretty much, or this whole thing, what I'm going to do is, the plan is that we're going to make this where it stays put, and it's got about right here or so on the top and bottom, it's got like a part where it mounts to this part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it from over here, over in this area somewhere. I think it's going to be like right here. There's another support, and I'm going to basically make it with 2 pieces. So this whole section right here can be it can pivot from right here, so this whole thing right here will be able to open to the side. That way he doesn't have to take it off or carry the weight, and then when he closes it again, all he's got to do is put like a clasp in here or something. I'll figure out a way to make it, and then it'll just stay, you know, bolted to that. What he wanted was that it stayed, you know, you can't really see the box. He just wants all the skirting to stay the same or whatever, so that was my plan there. So, I don't know how well it's going to work out yet. To be determined. So, let's take this part out for now. these pieces right here. This is what I was talking about. This actually supports the whole deal. So I was just gonna cut it off from over here, from right here, and kind of make this one little piece, and then this whole thing will kind of pivot out. So there's no change to it as far as, you know, because this really doesn't support anything. This is what's supporting it. All that'll come off. And basically I'll just mount that skirt to this piece right here, and it's going to pivot from right here, and it's kind of convenient. So all we got to do is get a bolt down in there with a little sleeve in it and put a washer on it and work out the play, and it'll pivot real nice. You know, we're going to have to come down with two pieces or whatever, but I think it'll come out real nice on that as far as the, you know, the pivot goes. Maybe put a bar back here in the back or something to kind of make it where it stays as one piece, because it'll be two separate pieces otherwise. But I think it'll come out pretty good. It'll probably take me a while to do it. So first thing I want to do is try to figure out how to mount the mounts. So anyway, it'll be a work in progress. Ultimately, I need a pretty good square, so probably going to try to so in order to get that to sit right in there, I guess we can just cut off this little end here, like so. And then it'll just kind of sit right over the top of that, and then we can put a little weld bead in there, and it'll clean it up real nice. Same thing on this other one. Cut it right there and then go down the middle with it. It should sit right on there, right in there. That's the theory anyway. essentially that's what you want to cut, is just a little area there, and it should, for welding purposes, it should be right there on the money where it'll come over just enough to be square up on the end of that, and it should be good to weld that part of it. So. Cut that one a little bit long. I need to come on the inside of that marker. So I'm going to have to cut a little bit off the edge of this one here to compensate for that. That's a little bit better. At least it's weldable. And that'll make a nice square on it. This time I'm going to cut to the inside of that. That one turned out a little bit better. I cut to the inside of that. I need to cut that one back just a tad more. We'll put a tack weld on it first, and then we'll just go ham on it. So I'll grind those down. Let me get a grinder bit on here real quick. That'll work out pretty well. So then let's make a square, and then once I get it, I have to get a square. I don't even have a metal square, but and then we'll once we get the kind of the idea of how we're going to do it, or how it's going to go, then we'll put a piece here. I don't know, a supporting piece, but I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm not sure how long I want to make it comfortable for me. So if we did another piece, 24 by 24, give or take. I'd almost like to go higher up with it though. I'd almost like to get something like that, where it's supporting from way up and then way down. So we're going to need a piece that's 30 inches, give or take. If I did one to 30 inches, I think I'd be satisfied that it's got enough cross. I don't want to make it too short. I want it to support the whole, you know. So if I did one at 30 inches, I may have to get another piece. So we did 30 inches on this one. Yeah. So I have to get another piece of metal, because we're going to be 8 inches short. So I have to get another piece. But I want it to cover quite a bit of the. Seems like it'd have more structure. So I'm not going to do any welding today because I've got sandals on. So I'm going to miss out on that, but I will bring it along when I make this. I'd like to try to get it done here this week sometime. Like I said, it's kind of a project deal, but I've got to kind of fit it in. I guess you could call it a side job of a job. I've got to kind of do it in between appointments and, you know, my normal work. This is kind of just a side deal, but I'll try to get it in. So, but that's the start on it. The rest of it I'll kind of deal with as we go. It's not going to rotate. It's got to rotate like so. That's where I can see. Yeah, so it's got to rotate like this. So I don't think so that if you leave that part on, this piece, that it's going to do that. All I really want is this, and then we can put a mud flap in there, like a polyurethane flap in there, or something over the wheel so it doesn't throw shit at the box. But I want to keep this piece intact so that we're able to reuse it and make the skirting part. That's really what I'm after. anyway, this brace right here, I still want this to come around and sit on that brace. I want the two pieces to come together essentially, and then make some sort of, I don't know, like a clasp. You know, I mean, hell, it wouldn't have to be nothing serious, just something where to come in and lock them together, something on the bottom. But I've got to figure out some way to make it where in the backside here, maybe just an aluminum bar I can put down in there so they stay together when you take them apart. If you don't, they'll, you know, they're two separate pieces, so when you cut these two pieces off, they're going to want to try to, you know, there's not going to be support on them. So I'm thinking maybe if I get a metal bar, aluminum preferably, because steel will try to heat that up eventually. But I'll get an aluminum bar on the back side of that. Let me see what one of those is going to look like. Put it on the back side of that, like so. That would give it the strength, you know, the integrity part. So when you unlashed it, these two pieces would stay together as far as the distance from each other. And the only thing that would hold it together would be that back part back there. And it's pretty strong, and then it would just kind of pivot out. So I think that was probably where I ended up going with that. And I think, you know, it'll have to be right there on the edge or so. That way it works around the skirting. The skirting's probably going to have a little bit of a gap in it, but that's about it. The way I see it. But I have to cut some off anyway from that bigger piece that's up here because it comes out like over here. So it's probably going to be that much missing from it. Maybe I can make it where it'll work on it. It's real easy to cut. It's just real thin aluminum. So maybe I can make it where it'll just fit a little piece in there and it'll look nice. But anyway, that's the deal on that. It's probably not going to happen tonight. Probably not going to cut this until I get my aluminum piece that I need. I'll probably get either a square tube, a small square tube to put on there. That's probably how it's going to happen, just a square tube and put back here behind it. And once I get that done, I'll feel comfortable about cutting it. Like I said, I'm going to cut it just about right there in the middle. That way these two pieces both sit. This is just going to come around and basically sit right there. And then on top or something, I'll have a clasp where this piece is already sitting there, and then I'll kind of show you what I have in mind. When I made my door for my truck, I'll show you. I don't know if it's going to work or not, and you guys can tell me if it's an okay idea or he doesn't want to spend a whole crap ton of money on this. So my idea behind it is kind of like this, where you got this little clasper, and all it is just like a gate clasp or something, real simple, just steel one. And then you got this other piece right here, put some light on it, like that. And essentially you just, whenever it'll be the same thing, you just bring the door around and then clasp it in, you know. And I've had this thing on there for 5 years and it ain't never had no problem. I mean, you could put a heavier duty one, I might do that, but it really wouldn't take much. And so all you want to do is keep that from moving, going down the road, and then when you need it, you just unclasp it and do what you got to do there. But I think that's the same kind of concept I'll go with. It's real simple and inexpensive. Just something to keep it closed, and I might put one on the top and on the bottom. Now I might put one up here, and then I might put one down here at the bottom, and you got to clasp it twice. That way the bottom didn't try to come out or warp or what have you. So I think that's what's going to happen there. And like I said, on this part right here, all I'm going to do is drill this hole. I'm going to remove this. Once I get this cut, I'm going to remove that bolt and the one on the bottom. And I'm going to come in, maybe even drill the hole out a little bit bigger, and I'll put a sleeve down in there with a couple of washers on the bottom and the top with a full thread or something like that. That way it can pivot on the thread or on the bolt itself, like a grade 8 bolt with a sleeve in it, and a washer on the top and a washer on the bottom to keep that sleeve locked in there. And it'll act as like a bearing in between all that, and then put a nice bolt in there, like a grade 8 bolt or what, so you don't have to worry about it coming apart. Same thing on the bottom, same concept. And then once I do that and I put the bar in there on the front end of it, this whole piece, once we make our cut from right here, this whole piece should pivot as far as you want it to come out. You know, and it'll pivot out until this bottoms out over here or whatever, but you know, That's kind of why we had to take that back piece off, because it wouldn't have opened. So anyway, that's my deal about that. I don't have any books or anything like that, or blueprints or anything. I'm just kind of going along as I kind of had an idea about this in my head when I first got the question about it. And then as far as the mounts, I'll see if I can show you what my plan is. I measured at 36 inches, so from over here to over here, and my mount for this part will go just about right there. So I'm going to drill a couple of holes in that frame and put one of the mounts, and then make it where to go 24 inches down, and then your part will come up back, and this piece in here to this step over here to the mount. Something you had to keep in mind was this piece right here, which is the exhaust mount. It comes out at an angle, so what I did was I just started it from right here, like at the bottom, and I'm going to start my box there and go down 24 inches, because you also have to be underneath the exhaust work here. So I figured if I put the exhaust about right there, this doesn't move, so it should be fine, and the box will stay put right there, and then 24 inches down. It's not too far to the ground. In fact, it's not near as low as the tank over there, so it'll be up above, a little bit above that tank. Just in this little square area right here, and I think that'll work out perfect. And then, like I said, this will open up, it'll hide it all, and we just put the skirting on and whatnot. So anyway, I've got to go to the hardware store and pick up a couple more pieces of metal, just some flat steel and maybe a piece of a square aluminum tubing. And I'd like to get this piece cut tomorrow if I can, which is Tuesday, but it might not happen until Wednesday. But I'd like to get that piece cut and get it to where I'd have to take this basically off or open it and then drill a hole behind there, get my tube mounted. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with tubing so it doesn't want to flex at all. And then get my bolts over here for that. I'd like to get that way I can get this to skirt, or to pivot out. Then we can go ahead and apply our box. Once we get this opened up here, the box is fairly simple. It's just nuts and bolts and drill a couple of holes. Throw a weld on the clamp, and then once the mount is done, the box, all you got to do is basically mount that. The other parts of it, like the vent, louvers, and all that, is real simple. But I'd like to try to get this done this week at least, so he can have it and be ready to go. But anyway, that's my plan on that, and I'll take you along as I go. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's all I got for going on for tonight. I'm going to put this skirting back on. I just want to do some quick measurements and just little odds and ends. It's kind of a side job that I took on, not really any mechanic work or anything like that, but I'll fit it in between the appointments that I have and whatnot. So it might be till Wednesday before it's done, or possibly even Thursday. But I'd like to try to get it knocked out this week. And with the weather being 100 million degrees during the day, I don't come over here much to this yard where they have these trucks at, because there's no shade or anything. It's a dungeon. So I usually come out here. So I'll have to get some blades, but I think I might finally have a job for my Sawzall that I bought at Milwaukee. I bought a while back. I'll get probably some 9-inch blades or so, but I'll use them to cut through this aluminum, because that thing right there, I mean, I've got a D-Walt in there, an 8-inch cut-off wheel, but it's electric. It's kind of a, you know, you got to drag out you got to uncover the generator and all that crap. So I think I'll just go by Home Depot and pick me up some blades for that Sawzall I got, and that should take those right off there like nothing. So anyway, it doesn't happen all the time, but there's a lot of times where on this bridge here especially, it's only 12 foot and it's marked pretty clear. Some guys like to try it, but most of the time they don't make it. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. Hopefully the driver's alright. It's probably a hell of a rude awakening. He's probably clipping it along pretty good. Over a quarter of the way back on the trailer. So. Well, the driver's alright. I'd say the front of that trailer is probably 12 foot, like the bridge says. The back of it's not.